Peace, peace, and blessings, everybody. This is Chrysalis Sun with BeTheVibe.com, and we're back for another edition of Crystals for the Zodiac. This week, I'm speaking to the luxurious Libras. Yes. And I laugh because, well, I'm always laughing, but I laugh because my mother's a Libra, so I was raised by Libras. I have a lot of Libras in my family. I tend to attract Libras as far as friends and mates and things like that. So I'm very, very, very aware of your energy. So you guys are very much the luxurious aspect of the zodiac. So Libras, you guys are born between September 23rd to October 22nd. You are a cardinal sign. You are represented by the scales in the zodiac, and you are an air element. So it's interesting because, somebody had pointed out to me that Libras, you guys are the only inanimate objects in the zodiac. So all the rest of the zodiacs are represented by beings. So you've got, Virgo the Virgin, you got Gemini the Twins, you've got Sagittarius the Archer, or animals, so you got Cancer, is the crab, you've got Scorpios is the scorpion, but Libras, you guys are not, you don't have that. You guys are represented by an inanimate object, which is the scales. So that has a lot to do, or that affects in a lot of ways, what you guys need in order to be right, basically. So the biggest thing about you guys is balance. The scales is, the justice, the balance. And actually that is your zodiac mantra, is I balance. So that's your biggest challenge. That's what you guys are all about: balance, fairness, things being even. And that is your biggest thing. Now, I say the luxurious Libra because you guys are also ruled by the planet Venus. So you guys are the one of two signs that are ruled by the planet Venus, which is the planet of love, luxury, pleasure, material possessions, the other sign being Taurus. However, you guys approach that energy from a air aspect rather than the earthly aspect. With that being said, positive attributes. So you guys are first and foremost diplomatic. You're known for being the diplomats, the mediators, the zodiac, very much about seeing both sides. You guys are industrious, extremely, extremely industrious. You guys are merchants. You have a merchant mind or an entrepreneurship mind. Very, very solid business people. Very solid salespeople. That has to do with you guys being charismatic and charming. So that's another aspect of your positive attributes. And again, that goes to you being ruled by Venus, the planet of love and pleasure and luxury. That energy flows through your personality when you engage with other people. You guys are extremely social beings. You are all about the we aspect as opposed to the I aspect. So you guys are not necessarily individualistic. You're very much about, the we, the us, the community. So you're very, very, very social creatures. You guys are very cooperative. Extremely, extremely cooperative. And again, that goes into the we, the community aspect, the us aspect of your personality, and you are very kind people, and just very gracious people. So what are your challenges? Your challenges are you guys can tend to avoid confrontation. So, and that has to do with you guys wanting to be cooperative and kind of just be so much with the community that it causes you to not want to take on situations that are challenging with others, confrontation or disagreements, discord. You guys don't respond well to that. And so your first really reaction to that is to kind of ignore it or kind of stick your head in the sand. So you guys are not really known for taking on things like head on, so you avoid confrontation, which can tend to make you guys a bit passive aggressive. You guys are indecisive, and actually this is the biggest complaint from others about you guys, is that you guys have a hard time making decisions. But what it is because it's that scales, it's that balancing act that you guys are on. So you're very much about wanting to do things the right way, whatever that right way is, you know, however you guys define that for yourselves. But because you're so fixed on doing things the right way, that it takes you a long time to make decisions. You're constantly weighing, and so what happens is that, you know, you weigh until the scales get about here. And then when you get here, then you're able to make a decision. But it takes so long for you guys with that. So, you know, for those who don't understand that about you, there's a lot of impatience with that. You know, and a lot of lack of understanding about that. But once you guys do make a decision, that's it. You know, you're not wavering, you're not changing your mind. You know, what the decision is what it is, because it takes you guys such a long time to reach that conclusion. But sometimes, you know, what ends up happening is that you can end up missing out on opportunities or things passing you by because of just, you know, the length of time it takes for you guys to reach your decisions. You guys have difficulty letting go of things. And it's actually funny, I have a friend who's a Libra, September 29th, and one of her favorite phrases is that anything that she let go of has claw marks on it. You know, so you guys have such a hard time letting things go. You know, and this is actually an issue because the other side of that too is that you guys are prone to toxic relationships and toxic situations. You know, so, you know, and this also goes into, you know, the tendency to kind of bury your head in the sand. So, you know, when you're in situations that you kind of need to get away from or get out of, you have such a hard time letting those situations go, and it can create, you know, harm for you. So the letting go is an issue. You guys can be people pleasers, you know, which is also dangerous patterns of behavior for you, and that also is tied to, you know, the desire to avoid confrontation. So because you don't, you know, you want things to be as smooth as possible and as harmonious as possible, you tend to put yourself last when it comes to dealing with others, and it creates a situation where you're essentially people pleasing. On the flip side, you know, you guys can be manipulative, and that has to do with the opposite end of your charismatic or your charming attribute. When it's abused, it can come off as being manipulative, because Libras are actually very good at talking people into things. Very, very, very effective at talking people into things. That's why you guys are really good salespeople. However, when there's an imbalance in that, that's when it creates a certain level of manipulation. The other aspect too is that you guys can be indulgent, very indulgent, and lazy. You know, and that has to do with the Venus energy. So, you know, sometimes when there's, you know, an imbalance, there's such an attachment to the pleasure and, you know, things being happy, things feeling good. You know, there's a lack of movement. You know, there's a certain level of laziness that occurs from that, and a certain level of being indulgent, you know, in the things that you're partaking in. So crystals for you guys. The crystals that you guys can use are pretty straightforward. And you guys have an extra benefit or extra support because you're ruled by Venus, the same as Taurus. You can actually use pretty much the same crystals that Taurus can use. You know, in regards to Taurus, you know, I advised in that video that Taurus to stay away from black stones because of the earth. And their earth. You guys can actually use black stones because you're air, and so you guys need grounding a lot of times. So you guys can actually use the black stones in addition to a lot of the crystals that Taurus can use. Now, for my practice with Libras and having Libra clients, you guys do best with water or air element crystals, but with caution. The reason why is because water is going to bring up all these emotions. A lot of times, you know, Libras, if there is too much of an influx of the emotions, it can tip your scales a bit. So you kind of want to be careful and cautious with the water element crystals. The air element crystals, you guys do respond well to. However, if you guys are a little bit, you know, if for those Libras that have a lot of Libra in their chart or some Libra and Gemini in the chart, the air may be a bit much. And so if you are going to use air crystals, you want to balance those with earth element crystals as well. Also, what I've noticed with Libras is that you guys are naturally attracted to rose quartz and amethyst. So, you know, those crystals definitely are a benefit to you. You know, however, there are some better stones for you that will create some of the same benefits, plus additional benefits than those two. But yes, you can absolutely do the amethyst, you can absolutely do the rose quartz. But what I've learned, or what I've observed, is that you guys need crystals that will focus all of that wind energy that you tend to have, as well as help you initiate all of your ideas, because there's a tendency to have all these ideas and kind of, you want to start projects, but then there's no follow through. There's a lot of reasons for that. The first is, the indecisiveness. You guys don't know where to start, how to start. The other aspect of it is that indulgent or that lazy nature, which is indicative of a lack of fire. So you guys actually do well with fire, having fire sign people around you. So I know Libras do well with Leos, and you do well with Aries and Sagittarius energy around you, because like I said, you guys lack the fire most of the time. The first recommendation I have for Libras is Onyx. So Onyx is a form of chalcedony. So it has a lot of the same traits as agate does, and I spoke about agate in my previous video for Virgos. But the way you could tell onyx is that it's black, the same way obsidian is, but it's got bands in it. So that's what that's indicative of the chalcedony, is the bands. So onyx is black with a little like grayish or like light, white bands in it. It's a really, really, really great stone for grounding. It's an earth element, and it supports the root chakra. Because it's a earth element stone, it's going to, and it supports the root chakra, it's going to treat any issues that you may have with your bones. But on the metaphysical level, onyx is, gives you self-confidence. It promotes stamina. It gives you, physical strength, and it focuses your mental energy. The next crystal that I recommend for Libras is Tiger's Eye. So Tiger's Eye, it is another form of chalcedony. So, of course, you're seeing the theme, with you guys with that. It is a fire and earth element stone. So it's going to give you the benefits of that push or that motivation, but it's going to ground you in it, right? Tiger's Eye is connected to the sun, and it supports the second and the third chakra. So it's going to stimulate and support the sacral as well as the solar plexus. So Tiger's Eye, it is a protective stone, and it's another one that channels or focuses your mental clarity. It's actually really, really great if you need to sit down and get projects done. So I know for me, I have a lot of error in my chart. So sometimes it's difficult for me to kind of focus all of the ideas and things that I have. So if I have something that I need to do that I really need to focus my attention span on, I'm good. I got Tiger's Eye. I'll slip my Tiger's Eye ring on. And then within an hour or two, I knocked out everything on my to-do list. So this is a great tool for Libras who experience those same challenges. Tiger's Eye is going to be really good for decision making, so it's going to, help you balance those scales a lot quicker when it comes to making your decisions. And another really important aspect of Tiger's Eye is that it allows you to separate your own needs from the needs of others, So, I talked previously about the people-pleasing nature of Libras. Tiger's Eye is going to take care of that. Tiger's Eye is going to allow you to, make decisions, healthy decisions, while considering your needs as well as the needs of others. Tiger's Eye is really great for your willpower, so like I said, it supports the solar plexus, which is our seat of personal power. So Tiger's Eye is going to protect that. It's going to support it. It's going to charge your solar plexus, and it's going to help you get really, really grounded in your personal willpower. Now, Tiger's Eye does come in different colors. So for Libras, I actually recommend the other colors, and one of them is red. The reason why red Tiger's Eye is really good is because it's going to eliminate lethargy. So remember, I talked about you guys being indulgent and lazy. When you find yourself in that space and you need to kind of move yourself out of that, red Tiger's Eye will definitely take care of that. But for everything else, or in the meantime, the regular gold, yellow Tiger's Eye will support you and assist you. So lastly, for Libras, I have the recommendation of aragonite. So aragonite really is something I've recently been using in my own crystal medicine practice. It's a great crystal. I kind of feel like I've slept on it for all these years. But it is a calcium carbonate, and it actually forms inside mollusks or mollusks. scales. So because of that, it actually is very brittle, very fragile, so you have to be careful when handling it. But aragonite is tied to the earth goddess, so it's a very grounding stone. I've learned that it's great for Libra children. So how, sometimes I recommend crystals specifically for children of a particular sign. For Libra children, aragonite is it. So aragonite, it is stabilizing in times of stress, so when you guys are kind of feeling overwhelmed, especially when it comes to making decisions or trying to figure some things out, or having aragonite around will definitely help with that. It supports spiritual development, and it is really good for acceptance, so, when you Libras are having that hard time of letting go of things, the aragonite will help with that, as well as increase patience, or help you cultivate patience. It's extremely grounding. So like I said, when you have your Libra children running around, kicking up all, the wind, the hurricane energy, having that aragonite around will definitely calm their energy, as well as adult Libras. But it also treats any disorders that stem from vitamin A and D deficiencies. That's it. Libras, as much as help as you guys need in managing your balancing act, the crystal recommendations are pretty straightforward. So, as I say every week, these are generic recommendations. If you have anything specific to your situation, reach out to me. I do consultations. If you want your natal chart read, I recommend that you reach out to Shaman Hands with shamanhands.com. He's on Facebook as Shaman Hands. He's on Instagram as Spirit Science Institute. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I will be bringing in Scorpio next week. We'll be talking to my Scorpios. Peace and blessings.